Hello again. Here we are, another fabulous week of A Photographer Talks. And this week, I have a photographer whose work continually astounds me, literally continually. He has a habit of finding the most astounding places and making them into astounding pictures. But not only astounding picture on its own, he then takes a little action sports person and pops them in there and makes the picture even better. Lorenz Holder is an action sports photographer, but one that is very evidently different to most. In his images, the skateboarders, snowboarders, wakeboarders, BMX riders are performing spectacular tricks, but often are only a small element in a wider landscape or urban scene. As a teenager, he was a keen snowboarder and had a sponsorship contract with a board manufacturer. His other teenage interest was photography, and he used his first camera, a Canon EOS 30, to shoot everything from flowers to sunsets. He's come on a long way. When his promising snowboard career was cut short by a bad shoulder accident, he continued to join his friends on their trips up to the mountains and took his camera with them. While the athlete is a crucial element in his photography, Lawrence's ideal image is one where you could remove them and it would still be good enough to hang on your wall. Over the years, he's photographed athletes performing in amazing locations on bridges, industrial cranes, frozen landscapes, floodlit forests, and even besides a giant satellite dish. Although Lorenz initially made these fine art action sports images for himself, he now often shoots them for commercial clients. He was born and brought up in Munich, Germany, and lives, well, in a small town not far from there right now. Please welcome or join me in welcoming Lorenz Holder to your screens. There he is. Good day, sir.
Hello, Charlie. Good to see you.
Hello. Wie geht's?
Super.
Perfect.
Alles gut.
We're not going to do it in German. It's fine. We could do it in English. Great to have you on board. Thanks for joining.
Thanks a lot for the invitation and the possibility, and I hope you guys will know a little bit more about myself and a little bit more about the pictures and what's behind it. So let's get started.
Let's get started, indeed. So before I throw up one image, I'd just quite like to know, do you see yourself doing this for the rest of your life?
I think that's a tough one for a start.
It is. I know. I thought I'd start with a hard one.
I don't know. Like, photography is my passion and what pays my bills right now. But you should never say no. Maybe, I don't know. I will always be a photographer for sure. If I'm making money with it or if it's my profession, I don't know. But I just love to shoot images and to take the camera with me and be creative. So I think
quite possibly.
Yeah, I will always be a photographer, but I don't know if that's gonna be my job for the rest of my life.
Well, let's. I think, and let's hope it should be, because the reason I ask is, you have over the years progressed and increased the awesomeness of your images, and I just wonder, literally, where you can go with this over the years. I'm super excited to see myself. So, honestly, everyone watching the images as I was working through them, I know quite a lot of Lawrence's work, but some of them I hadn't seen, and I almost fell off my chair. Really, he has a crazy habit of finding amazing spots, and the labour of love he goes through to actually make those images work is quite astounding. So, on that note, let's kick off with Autumn Circle. One of your actually a lot of these images you've won competitions with, but this image in particular has such a great story. So Autumn Circle, very appropriate, coming to the end of autumn this year, golden colours, ridiculous reflection. for those of you who don't know, when Lorenz got to this place, it didn't look like this, did it, Lorenz?
No. Actually, when I got there, the whole lake was covered with leaves, and there was no reflection at all. It was all, yeah. We just got there actually a week too late, and that was the reason why that was because I was shooting products back home in the studio, but they had to be done, so I could, when I was done with those product shooting, I could go on that trip. So I really tried to crush it down as fast as I could, but like still to make it proper. But I was late when we got there. So we were about a week late, and all the leaves had fallen down from the trees into that lake with no reflection that you can see in the image. No reflection was there. So we thought we still want the reflection, because like the image I had in my head was, you need this reflection in the lake to make that image work.
Absolutely.
And
absolutely.
So we thought about what could we do and how we could do it, and we actually cleaned that lake from all the leaves to get that picture, and it took us 3 days to complete cleaning that lake, because you cannot just Google how do you clean a lake from leaves. It was we had to try and error and work on it.
It's pretty. I mean, it's pretty astounding when you think that lake was covered in leaves, and you got there when you got there, and now you've managed to turn it into this. You know, obviously, you look at it now, you would never think that was the case. Did you have any fear that, apart from the leaves, you know, and apart from maybe not making it, that the bridge was strong enough for the cyclist?
He was not jumping on it. He was like in a very quiet mode, and his trick was very quiet, so he was not really jumping, and the bridge was standing there for a long time.
Yes.
We had like a really close inspection to it, so if there were bricks missing that could like if there are some bricks missing underneath the arc, then it would be a possibility that it could break down. But I think it was kind of safe to do it, and arches are very, very strong, like probably one of the most strongest, or the strongest building techniques they had back in that time. So it looks very fragile, but I think it was okay to do that.
Yeah, well, clearly it didn't fall in, so that's good.
Yeah.
But it's a very arresting picture. But I mean, you know, the bridge itself is sort of reasonably well known. But where did you kind of come up? What's just a good point now to sort of where you come up with your locations? How did you discover this? Do you do a lot of internet scouring, or what's your sort of secret?
Finding locations is like, you never find them, they find you. Like,
ooh, deep.
That deep, yeah. But somehow I could never sit in front of a white paper and come up with locations. It's just going through your daily life with open eyes. I think that's a key thing, and that's what, when we come to one image later, you know, you will understand what I mean. But going through your daily life with open eyes, not having them on the smartphone all the time. That's how you find locations. And I think one key element for me is when you look at it at the first time, it should be something special in it. So people say, even if there was no snowboarder or skateboarder, BMX guy, whatever, they should see a location where they say, "Whoa, this is pretty special." And if you get get a special location and then start to like create, I start to create images in my head that I could possibly see, and then see if I can manage to fulfill that with an athlete. A lot of times it doesn't work out.
Really? So how many images would you say that you've attempted that you haven't necessarily come up with what you
Oh,
were hoping for?
I probably 10% of the image that I think are possible will make it into a picture. I think 90% where I see images just doesn't work, because either if you're shooting snowboarding and it doesn't snow there, that's one thing. And so I would say 10% of my image ideas I can come to, or I can fulfill to have an image at the end.
Okay. So yeah, that's
But
tricky, huh?
I start, or it's not that I try to get the image, or I would say 90% of the image that I have in my head, I'm not going to even go there, because I can see it early in the stage that it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that involves the 90%.
And then of those ones that you have in your mind, how many of those involve you traveling to reasonably far locations? So such as King's Road, which I'll put up now, another BMX shop.
Yeah.
This was not in your homeland and not round the corner.
It was in Northern Ireland, actually, and I saw it the first time when I was watching Game of Thrones, and I think it was in season 1, first or second episode, I think, at the end. So, and I saw it, and I thought, like, whoa, that's such a crazy looking road. Probably all of CGI involvement, and I didn't think it was real. And then somehow I started researching if this could maybe be real, and I came to a website that's called like traveling to Game of Thrones locations in Northern Ireland. I was like, oh, they're pretty cool locations there. And so actually, I was really interested in seeing Northern Ireland and seeing those locations. So I did like a spot scouting trip. But it was more like a weekend with my girlfriend, and we used it as a holiday trip, I would say. So it was location scouting and holiday at the same time.
Oh, okay, nice. So how many places, including King's Road, did you shoot on the trip?
I think it was like 6 locations actually.
And how many worked out?
Probably 5.
Okay.
So that's pretty good.
That's a
And
pretty good hit rate.
but the funny thing was, when I was in Northern Ireland, it like the plan was to shoot the images in beginning of spring. So I did the location scouting in, I think, January, and the funny thing was that it never actually snows in Northern Ireland unless I get there. So we had a rental car with summer tires in like 10 centimeters of snow. And there were crazy accidents everywhere. Everybody, was not really able to drive a car under those conditions. So that was totally like unexpected, and pretty funny to see those locations as well in the snow.
Absolutely, yeah.
So it was, but you could see the potential that it got, and it was fun.
So the King's Road shot that we put up features BMX athlete, and I think he's the same one as in the Giant's Cause image, correct?
And it's the same one that was on the bridge on the pictures you showed previously. So that's Senad Gosic. Yeah, he's Austrian, and I don't know. Like we became friends when we met at the golf tournament in England, actually.
Yes.
Yeah. So somehow, long story short, we met at like a total different occasion, and we got friends. And so whenever I think about an image where a BMX rider would be good, that's my man to go, actually. And like we got so good friends over the years and over the projects we've done together, so that he's always my number one man on the BMX bike.
He's your go-to guy. So then,
Yeah,
Giant's Cause was shot at the same time on the same trip, should I say, as King's Road,
yeah.
and then you got a few other shots in there. Um, I mean, this is a fantastic image. I've never been to the Giant's Causeway myself. Uh, pretty crazy, really, to see him up there. Was that
There's a fun side story to that Giant's Cause image. Um, I've traveled there, of course, before to location scout, got my angle, got everything ready. And when we had the first day of shooting, or the first day of traveling to Northern Islands, um, we arrived in, I think we flew to Dublin because it was cheaper to get the rental car in Ireland than
yeah?
to get it in Northern Ireland. Anyways, so I flew from Munich to there, and Senat flew from Vienna, and his flight was like 2 or 3 hours later. So when we got there, I checked on my phone that tonight it's going to be an amazing sunset. So I went to the location and I said, it's probably, I'm set up. The only thing that is missing is actually Senat, because he was like 3 hours behind me. And we calculated, I think the drive was like 2.5 hours from Dublin to that location. And when he landed, we were like, that's going to be a really close call, but could be possible. So I called Senat when he landed and said, "You need to be very fast. Get up there. It's like it's an opportunity that we could use if we manage to that you get there in time." So he was in the car, and we had like a small, how do you call it, like painters have those kind of cars, where you have a little bit more room in the back and
Yeah, yeah.
behind
An
the
estate,
thing.
we call it in British. Yeah.
Exactly. So Senat was on the way with my assistant, and my assistant was driving, Robert. And Senat was like, when he got closer to the location, he was building up his bike, like in the
In the back of
background.
the car.
Yeah, and when we got there, he was actually just jumping out of the car, getting his bike. We just did like a high five, real quick, no big talking, and I got everything ready. Camera was set. I had the time to prepare the spot, and when he got there, we did the high five. He went onto those rocks, did his nose pick. We got the shot, and then like 5 minutes later, the sun was gone, and then we said hello yeah.
In a friendly fashion.
In a
That's
friendly and
awesome. That is
so
absolute dedication.
that was good timing, but it was so nerve-wracking because when you're on a location and you see it's getting really good, and there was the perfect sunset, but you had no athlete, and you know he's gonna come in like 10 minutes, but you know how sunsets look, if they can change so quickly, and you don't want to miss the best part of it, and but somehow we really got lucky with that one.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing actually. That you said you used a particular app. What was the app that you used to gauge your sunset? That's
I think it's
interesting
called.
tip.
I use two apps. Let me check that I'm 100% correct. It's one is Light Track and one is Sun Surveyor.
Oh, you broke up. Say it again. Light track and
I have Light Track and Sun Survey. Survey. Sur, difficult
surveyor.
English word. Sun Surveyor. Yeah, I can, like, you can see it.
Oh, I don't know
Well,
about that. I can
does
just see
that work?
myself.
So, yeah,
I'll get the
uh,
links and put them in the chat.
yeah. Put it down there. With those apps, you can just predict where the sun is going to be in like 2 hours, for example,
Right.
or how
Okay.
long you have daytime. That helps
Oh, that's cool.
to
Good. Thanks. Thanks for
plan
that
trip.
tip. Nice. So moving from wheels, one set of wheels to another, your sort of second highly featured type of sport is skateboarding. Um,
Yeah,
and I think a fabulous shot that kind of goes a little bit with your King's Road image is Inception Flip. Now, in particular, I really want to talk about this one because a photographer that I interviewed not long ago also shot in the same location, and I'm sure plenty of other people have. But tell us a little bit about this one. This is where is this location now? Is this the British one?
yeah. That's in south of London, pretty much. It's called the Balcombe. I'm gonna always pronounce it totally wrong, so I'm sorry for that. I call it the Balcombe Viaduct. There
Right.
is the or alternative name is the Ouse Valley Viaduct, and
Yeah.
it's south of
Okay.
London.
Yeah.
And it when you get there, when you see it from the side, it looks like a pretty random railroad bridge that goes over a valley. So if you look from the side, it's nothing too spectacular. It's not super high. It's just a brick viaduct that the train uses to pass that valley.
Mhm. Mhm.
But even if you go like when you get closer to it, and once you get inside that symmetrical line where all the arches line up in behind each other, it's fascinating. You look at it with your own eyes. You take pictures with the phone. It looks so surreal. And when you take the bigger camera or like my Canon camera, and you compress the layers of those arches so that the arches move closer to each other, it gets totally surreal. And that was a little bit the intention that I had when I created or when I saw that image. Like, yeah, that was the intention that I had when I made the image. Compress layers and have a skateboarder in that beautiful viaduct.
And who's the skateboarder in this?
It's Vladik Scholz. He's from Germany. He was
Okay.
he was not so stoked when we got there, and he was having his first tries on trying out how this tiny transition worked. And I still remember when we tried it out. He said like, "This is so quick." When I'm going down with my skateboard, my head is going still like my body is going. No, what did he say? He said, "My head is still going down, but my body is already going up on the other side of the transition." So he had actually hard times at the beginning, but then he got kind of used to how to skate that, and so after a couple hours, he was really on and knew how to ride it. But it was not so easy.
So it took you a while to kind of get to this point where the trick um, is quality enough because yeah,
I
it's a
thought,
tidy space.
uh, the first thing was, could he possibly ride this thing? And then, yeah, a couple hours later, we figured out it is possible. And then um, I thought, okay, maybe an ollie would be like maximum what we could do. And so we got the ollie on camera, and then he started to do flip tricks, and he started doing kick flips. And I said, if he can get one kick flip where he's doing that trick,
Yeah.
that would be perfect. And then I had hard times. Skateboarding is such a fast sport, and you have to be so on point to catch or like get the perfect moment in a kickflip. And that is not when the board is like when the trucks are showing like a kickflip works like this. The skateboard is on top and he jumps and the board turns around like 360 degrees,
Indeed.
and you
Yeah.
want to take the image not what a lot of people think when the board is like, okay, let's start again. He's jumping, and for a lot of people, it would say like this is the perfect moment because then the wheels are down, so you can see it's a flip. But it's actually for skateboarding, it's like they jump, do the trick, and in that moment when they catch the board with their feet again, like basically with the back foot, that's the perfect moment for a kickflip, and that is something to get actually. And so it was I was super happy when I got that job.
Yeah. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it is a super fast sport, and even I'd imagine probably even more so in this little area here, because there's really not a lot of time to play with anything.
Yeah.
And clearly, the focus is very much on him. So it's all about getting it perfectly right. Where did you come across the location? And did you travel there specially for that shoot?
Yes, I saw it probably on Instagram, and I was mind blown from that location. And I saw like there was a guy standing there with like I don't know with his dogs in there, and I thought this looks so surreal, and it would be magical if we could get like a skateboarder in there.
Yeah.
So that was the first impression that I had from that spot.
Yeah, it's pretty astounding. Do you have a list of these spots that you keep discovering, Lorenz?
Yeah.
It's just up on the wall, isn't it? See, you talk about surreal. I mean, Inception Flip is definitely surreal. I love the name. It's obviously clearly based on the film, but it's sort of
Just one quick note on this, because when you look at it, you don't really understand what you are looking at. Is this like are you looking down, or are you looking like through a tunnel, or what's going on? And that was the first feeling that I had. So I named it Inception Flip because it was just surreal and a little bit confused your brain.
Yeah, it does. It very much does confuse your brain. But then, to be honest, I think quite a lot of your shots sort of confuse your brain. And what a better image to show next for exactly that reason than Many Ways, Many Ways Too, which
Yeah.
this was kind of interesting. You found this on Google Maps. Is that right?
Yes.
So it's there's all sorts of ways that Lorenz finds his crazy locations.
I was with my kids actually, and they had their small bikes with them, and we just took like a cruise through like a pretty cool area, and it was around Munich, and like it's a super big area, and they built it for like it's called the Buga, which stands for Bundesgartenschau, which means it was a fair for planting trees or like wonderful gardens of flowers and trees. And they have this every year, I think, in Germany, like in different cities. Like once it was in Munich, then next year is, for example, Berlin or whatever. So they move each year to a different city, and the city creates land art within this fair. And once the fair is over, it still remains there, and you can visit it as a visitor. And this was left behind from that fair, and it's like a garden with orange paths that sneak through it, and it was hilly as well, which you can't really see on the image because it was taken from the top.
Yeah.
But and the material was kind of that you use for basketball grounds, that little grainy, soft.
Okay. Yeah.
So it was too easy to skate there as well, but you just need like a little bit of pop to get from that to get the trick. And the other thing was what I really like when you're shooting aerial shots from the top, and you wait a little bit later during the day that the shadows get longer, so they can the shadows tell the story of the image. It's when you just look at the skateboarder, you just see his head and his shoulders and a little bit of the legs, but the shadow tells the whole story of that image.
Yeah, very much. And that's again using your apps and predicting the path of the sun, because
That was to
that's
come
tricky.
back to
Obviously,
that.
there, if the skateboarder, in fact, interestingly, the skateboarder looks like something else there in his shadow. It's a pretty fascinating one. Do you have a preference shooting drone or shooting with your normal camera? Because a lot of your work is starting to show more drone activity, I feel.
It's just the drone cameras actually got way better than it was back when I started using aerial images. Back in the days, I didn't have like a drone that was big enough to capture or to carry my big camera. But I had one friend, Christoph Weber, and he was a filmer back in the times for a lot of snowboard videos, and he got totally into that drone thing, and he built his own drones. And every time I saw the potential of a drone shot, I hired him to fly his drone up there with his camera, and I was more like the POV, yeah. So directing him of how I see the shot, but I was not really flying the drone for myself. And that was the early stages of aerial photography. And then the drones got better cameras and better resolution. And then I got my own, or I had my own drone before, but with a crappy camera. Then I got proper camera on it. And now I use just a DJI Phantom, and that works for pretty much a lot of shots that I've shot.
Okay, so Many Ways was. When did you shoot Many Ways? Is this recent?
It was, I would say, a good year ago.
Okay.
Yeah,
because it feels quite fresh so it's a good strong drone contender for you. I love it. I mean, it's super graphical. Again, it's quite sort of surreal. Don't really understand what's going on when you look at it, which is cool. I think that your work falls into those sort of two areas. Really, we'll look at another image in a bit that's slightly that way, very very graphical, but from one flip to another. You've got Mystic Flip, and this is not shot with a drone, but this is shot ambitiously on a summer swimming platform in a lake. And I love it. I think there's definitely a trend in your shots that either you use the drone to create the shadow, which is obviously dark, or you take a lot of your sports people to be silhouetted. So we saw that in Giant's Causeway, and now we're seeing it again here. Clearly, the question I have to ask in this one. Well, in fact, there's a couple, but the first one is how did he get there? Because there's no boat, and I assume he didn't swim with a skateboard.
No, he didn't swim. That's pretty fun. Actually, my idea behind this image was actually to shoot a drone image there. And if you go on Instagram and you find Mystic Flip, there is 1 and 2. And one is the drone shot, and one is the shot that we're looking at right now, which is from the side. And we got to that lake, which is in Switzerland. I'm sorry, close to Laax, which is known for snowboarding, actually. But this lake is so beautiful, and I found it when I was snowboarding there in the springtime. And we just had like a really cool time and hung out there. And the fascinating thing is that crystal clear water with where you can see to the bottom of the lake pretty easy. So I had the idea to shoot a drone picture there. And on that day, when we got there, it was really early in the morning. The whole lake was covered with fog, with like mist lying on that, like with mist lying on the water surface. And then the sun came up, and it started to heat up the surface, and the fog slowly rised up and started to disappear. And I thought, this looks so amazing. We should just get my skateboarder on that platform right now and real quick. And so there was like a rental boat thing where you could, during the day, you can just rent it and cruise around the lake. Okay. And so we rented a boat. We're the first guys in the morning there, and they were like, "Oh, you're early." We were like, "Yeah, gotta be quick." So we rented this small paddle boat, and then I paddled him to that platform, and then he got onto the platform, and everything was a little bit shaky. So what he did, because we knew if he's gonna drop his skateboard into the water, it's gone. Yeah. And then he's just on that platform without a skateboard, pretty much useless for a photo. So he got like a small string with him, and tied a knot on his skateboard and on the platform. So just in case he loses the board, it would not just drop down to the bottom of the lake. And it happened once. So that was pretty smart to have that rope there, or that string. And and I just saw that the fog started to come up even more and more and more, and slowly starting to disappear. So we started just the session that was actually planned for later in the day. We saw it, and we knew that's something you cannot really plan for, but when it's there, you just have to do it.
Indeed, yeah. So he happened to have a skateboard with him, even though you were snowboarding.
True.
Amazing. Go hang out with Lorenz. All sorts of strange things happened. And was it at the same time that you shot Mystic Flip 2, the one from over above?
Like that was really in the morning.
Yeah.
And the second one was, I think it was about lunchtime, because we had to wait till the sun was in the perfect angle to be like in the middle of the platform, because as I said, the shadow explains the story. Yeah. And I wanted to have that. We could not turn the platform in any way, so we had to wait till like the sun gets in the perfect angle for creating the shadow where I wanted it to be. And it was, I think, around lunchtime. Amazing. So we had like a morning session and then like a lunchtime session.
That's fab. If you haven't seen the other one to Mystic Flip, go onto Lorenz's Instagram, because it's super cool. The color of the water is, well, it's unbelievable. Really, quite unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, great. I love it that your dedication to these things is clearly becoming quite intense as we get through all of these shots. See, but what I wanted to say here is it's not just about skateboards and wheels and so on. There's lots of other boards. You mentioned snowboarding. You're on a snowboarding holiday. I think there's 2 or 3 shots I'd like to show. The snowboard shot, I think, that we were discussing just before we came on air is a great one. But I'm going to come to that because I talk about the color of the water. That's what sort of standed me with Mystic Flip, and I really do want to go to show Bavarian Playground. Bavarian Playground is a wakeboard shot, and it's obviously given away in the title, Bavarian Playground. I probably shouldn't have said it, because looking at this picture, you would have no idea that this is in Bavaria. I mean, personally, I don't know why. I just felt it was in somewhere like South America or the Andes. Yeah. this is really not too far away from your home. Here we see a wakeboarder doing some magic. Tell us how you came across this crazy place.
There, I could have, if I would have changed the angle a little bit to the left, you would have seen that famous Cinderella's castle that is Bavaria is known.
No,
It
really?
it would have been just like, I think, just a tiny twinkle to the left, and it would have been there, but very, very small. But so that's, I think I thought about having the castle in there or not, but then I said I'm just gonna go for the composition that I really liked and skip that away. But that was the fun part. It could have been even more Bavarian than when you look at it now. But to come back,
Neuschwanstein is literally just round the corner.
just to the left, and
That's crazy.
and this lake, this is very special because it's when you go there in the summertime, it's just a regular lake, like normal lake just in front of the Alps. And in the wintertime, they it's not very deep, but the government is making electricity out of it, and they let the water out of the lake during the wintertime. So in autumn, everything is filled, and then through the winter, the water level goes down till there is no water in it. And in the springtime, when the snow is melting, it gets like back up again slowly.
Yeah.
So you have like from 0 to like I would say like 1-2 meters.
Okay.
Those small patches of bowls, they get filled with water, and this is how the surreal scene actually is created. It's just melt water that is coming from the mountains that you see in the background.
And is that surface kind of soft? Is it like granite wise or?
That's a crucial thing because when it's raining, it's just pure mud, like ankle or knee deep mud. So you cannot really walk on it. But when there was a dry period, like I would say for at least 4 or 5 days with no rain, you could easily walk on it. And also walk on it without leaving footprints behind it. Because when you walk there and you leave like ugly mud footprints, it doesn't look like this anymore. So we had actually to wait till the water level was at the point where it was perfect to ride.
Yeah.
Then we had to wait for a dry period so we could walk without leaving any tracks. And also getting there, it's like in the middle of the lake. It's like you walk for like 20 minutes through the desert from the coastline.
Yeah.
Where like the coastline in the summer, you walk like 20 minutes out into the middle of a lake. And if this is muddy, you can't bring, like we used the winch,
Yeah.
which was kind of heavy, and yeah, we just had like a push car. How you call it? Push car?
Well, yeah, so a trolley to push everything out, and yeah.
Yeah, like that you use when you carry stuff in the garden, like leaves or like that stuff. So we need like a dry surf.
A wheelbarrow.
Learn something more.
Indeed.
And but you need a dry surface so you don't have to carry it because it's very heavy, and so timing was everything, and yeah, it was a lot of planning in advance. And to be honest, we were there a year earlier as well, but we didn't have the conditions. We had ankle deep mud, and it was not really accessible to get there without leaving tracks or to destroy the whole scenery. But at that point, everything was dry and stable enough, and the water level was perfect, and the sun came out. So
It worked. Yeah, it definitely works.
That
But
worked a couple of times, yeah.
where is the winch in here? Bottom left, it must be, I'd imagine, or left somewhere.
Bottom left, yeah.
Oh, you
Like
can
out of the
actually,
picture.
you can just see the line. I can very just see the
Exactly. You
faint
follow the
winch line.
line, it's going to show you where it's ending. And
Uh,
this the it's actually a pretty unusual photo for me because normally when I use the drone, I pretty much always shoot straight down.
yeah,
Um, and here I used like a little bit of an angle because like the scene where it all played was so surreal with the mountains covered in snow in the background and that crazy colored water where you think it's in the Caribbean. But that is the reason why it's colored that way is because when the snow melts in the mountains, it takes those small particles of clay with into the lake, and then it when there's clay and water mixing up, it's getting like a little bit milky in a way, and um, and that creates those crazy
crazy colors.
colorful, yeah.
Astounding. Yeah, I mean that's definitely a find. I personally, for one, would like to see a drone shot of that. I think, just purely because the landscape is it's kind of almost lunar. Really, it's
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of a mixture of lunar and Caribbean. Definitely sort of other world, very much. So go back. Can you go back a third time and go and shoot that with the drone, please?
Yeah.
I, for one, want to see it. So, drone, we talked about graphical, we talked about drones. You just said that you like shooting from above. The other drone shot that we've got to show is vertical lines. Now, I love this one. I was totally flabbergasted when I saw this. You know, it's. I think the bizarreness about this is where on earth is that turquoise water so close to that beach, so close to a railway track? Um, you know, so where is this one? I mean, I do love this purely because I think it
It's
highlights a lot of things
it's
about you. Um, but where is it?
it's in Austria, close to Ötztal,
Okay,
and
yeah.
it's called Area 47, which is like a wake
Ah,
park, man. Like not only wake park, but it's a center for water sports, all kind of rafting. Yeah, multiple ways to have fun there. And they built like a wake park lake there. And due to that reason that it was built not a long time ago, there was no time for plants to grow underwater. So it's still, the foil that you can see in the image that makes those wrinkles and everything. That's the foil that is underneath the
ah,
surface. So it's pretty new built, and there's not too much plants underwater that you still have this crazy patterns and crystal clear water, and especially I think it was in February where all the plants that are could have been there, they were not
still dormant.
blooming.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were still in winter sleep, and to be honest, when I tried to shoot there, it was really difficult to get like good angles from the side from the from the beach.
Yeah.
So I just gave it a try and flew the drone up. And when I was flying there, I recognized that the railroad was like straight next to it, and the beach and the like a road that was built for, I don't know, like
Access.
access road exactly, and it was all straight lining next to each other. And in the middle, the black line is a fence that you can see, and it looked so graphical from the drone. So I just um, lined everything up in the way I could see like a really good composition, and um, then I was actually the rider on that feature is actually my girlfriend,
Ha!
which was another part of we're doing holidays and working at the same time. So she's like a fascinated wakeboarder, and I knew that I just want to, like, she wanted to wakeboard and I wanted to shoot a little bit. So I was playing around, and then I just told her at a certain point that just do that board slide all the time on that feature. And she was like, why? Just I'm gonna explain you later. Just do it all the time. And then I showed her the image at on that day at the evening, and she was like, "Whoa,
Yeah,
was
I'm
that
not surprised.
in that location?" I was like, "Yeah."
That's fantastic. That's a perfect example. If ever there was one, to say change your position, change your perspective, because you said there was nothing. Whoop, wrong picture. Sorry, nothing really to see and capture your attention otherwise on the ground and normal angles,
And
whereas this is hugely visually arresting. So really
that's
great.
like
I love it.
that's really fascinating, especially in water sports. When you're looking from the beach, you can't look through the water,
No.
but the drone gives you the possibility to look when you're shooting straight down through the water, so you see things that you don't even know that are there when you're standing on the beach, and that's what's really fascinating, I think.
Yeah, it is definitely. How
You get
many
surprised anytime.
times did it take for you to get her in that perfect position, right in the middle? How many goes do you think?
On the
So
vertical lines.
yeah, on vertical lines, yeah, to get your girlfriend.
She was just making laps, and I had the drone up there, and you just
You
do
just
small
bang, bang,
corrections,
bang.
and then you pretty much leave it at that point, and then you just focus on the rider or my girlfriend, and then you just hit the button when you think it's it's good. But it was pretty cool because I knew she's gonna come by every
Yeah.
like 145 seconds or something, and so I could have the drone there steady, nothing too special, and just wait. Actually, it was pretty easy to shoot.
Don't say
But
that. Don't give it away. It was really difficult, really difficult. All right. So look, moving on. We're going to go to, because we're almost out of time, almost on the hour.
yeah,
So I really want to go to your other board, right? Which is your other board love, should we say? Which is snowboarding. That's where it all started. Um, and I think nothing better really than to show lift. So the one that you shot as part of your lift series, and especially because of what Lorenz showed me right at the beginning. So I'm going to put it on screen now, and you can talk us through this. So this is where we sort of see the real full snowboarding fine art experience as per Lorenz Holder, and show us or tell us about this one here because it's quite intriguing.
this is it's still one of my favorite shots, and because there's also like you look on images, and some people say, "Oh yeah, this is like a really good shot." But when you're the photographer at the same time, you always connect emotions to your pictures. Some people, that's pretty funny because some people say, "Yeah, that's such a good photo I took," and people look at it and they say, "Yeah, but it's kind of boring." And then they say, "Yeah, but I put so much effort into it." But you don't see that in the picture. So
No.
a photographer always connects an image with, or sometimes they connect the result or that feeling that people have with their own emotions they had, how they got the shot.
Indeed.
And I still connect this very much on that day because we were in Norway, and it was one of those days. I still remember. I woke up in the morning and I looked outside, and it was all white, nothing. We were on top of the mountain, and we slept next to the lift. And I looked out, and it was just white, nothing. Normally, you would have at least seen the parking lot, but it was total white out.
Monochrome.
So that's a time where just turn over again and take another nap and make some coffee. Still look outside, still white, total white out. Lifts were even running. It was closed for the day. But so we were on top of that mountain in a whiteout, and yeah, after the third cup of coffee, we were said like, oh, we're getting cabin fever. We need to do like at least go out and see, maybe we can find something for the day, for the next day. And I walked out there with Knut, and Knut is like I would say like a total energy person. He could never sit inside his room for the whole day and watch movies or something. He's like, I need to go out there and we need to do something. And I say, okay, yeah, let's see how white this is out there. So we walked around a little bit, and then we walked towards those lift poles. Nobody there, totally empty. We're the only two people there. And then we walked closer, and I said, oh, but in a way it looks really graphical if you line up all the lift poles, and they disappear to the distance because of the fog or the clouds. And I said, maybe we could just do like a easy trick in between those lift pools and silhouette it and have really a high contrasty image. And he said, yeah, let's do this. This sounds good. Let's go. And he was full on. So he hiked up there, built like a small jump in between those lift pools. And I got the camera ready on the tripod because I really wanted to, like, we had time. There was no pressure.
Yeah.
And so I set it up on a tripod to have everything in focus, aligning it perfectly. And then Knut just like went probably like 15 times because he was so stoked on riding, even if he didn't see anything. And then we tried a couple of tricks, and I think this is the one that just catched me straight away. It was like, I looked at the image and said, yeah, that's pretty sick. So we got that image, and then we came back to our small cabin. And the other guys who were watching Netflix the whole day, they were like, oh, how was it out there? More like was it fun? And we said, yeah, I think it was, we got some stuff. And they're like, what? Did a white picture or what? And then we showed them the image, and they were like, whoa, we want to go out there as well. And I said, yeah, but you missed it.
Missed out, the guys. Nice. Which shows that you've turned that into a Polaroid, right? You had it in your hand earlier.
That's pretty fun. Yeah, I just I'm doing Polaroid lifts just because of lockdown stuff, and that's
good. Yeah,
probably it's reflecting, but you know the image, and it's on Polaroid. And I shot this on from my computer screen because I want to lift it and print it on paper. And if you're interested in Polaroid lifts, you get something like this. As like when the emulsion from the Polaroid lifts, you can stick it onto paper and make some art. So that's what I do when I'm bored and
stuck in a lockdown and not in a cabin.
Not
nice.
Travel.
That's pretty cool. Definitely, you can see there. You see is another side of the fine art Lorenz Holder coming out. You know, it's stuck in a cabin, and you make something happen, and stuck in your own home, and you make something happen too.
But I think that last picture we talked about is like the best way. Like what I got asked so many times, what advice would you give like an aspiring or starting photographer? Like, even if you think it doesn't make sense, just give it a try, because at some point you will get there, and you will be surprised what even on the most shittiest, or how beautiful the worst conditions can be.
That is fantastic. A fantastic tip. Absolutely, get out there, because you never really know what you're going to find. You could be completely in the worst of places, but if you've got your camera and your creativity, they're your two best friends.
Yeah, that's that was deep.
Thank you. Thanks for sharing that. Because I was going to ask you, what your top tip is, and I think you've said it. That was it. That was amazing. So look, we're going to have to close down and finish up. But before we do, I'm dying to ask you if there is somewhere that's high on your list of where you haven't yet shot that you'd like to shoot. Now I know that obviously we are globally in a difficult time, so it might never come to pass. But is there one place that's screaming out for you?
But I'm not gonna tell.
Ah!
Yeah, like the bucket list got bigger during the times where we had to stay back home, and because you do a lot of research. To be honest, I think I'm really happy when like things get back to normal and when we are allowed to travel again. And until that point has come, I think we have to make the best out of it back home and be creative back home. And so I'm gonna focus more on stuff that is right around me, like just outside, and use that as to see things maybe I would not have seen if I would travel a lot. So I kind of start to see things just around the corner, and that's also pretty cool. And yeah, I've shot some stuff with my kids actually in the last couple of weeks, and that was like they were having their small scooters, and I was taking like I think pretty cool images of them. So that's what I like try to do right now. Just don't be negative about that I'm not able to travel, because now I can see places and take more time in the places that are just around me, and yeah, and enjoy that.
Perfect. I don't think anyone's put it better. That's very well said. And in fact, I think what's great is, I asked you the question at the beginning: can you continue this for how long will you continue doing this? Well, clearly you've got a bucket list. You've got a list of places that you want to go. So I, for one, am definitely excited about what you've got round the corner. Who knows when you'll be able to go and do it? But round the corner it is for now, and you've definitely got a few creative ideas, as we've seen. So, Lorenz, I wish you to much luck, stay safe, and continue to be creative, because you've clearly got a lot more to give, and I'm looking forward to seeing what that is.
Thanks so much for the possibility to talk a little bit about some stuff and some behind the scenes of my images. Yeah, and I hope you enjoyed it, and the audience as well. And yeah,
we did
stay
indeed.
Safe.
Stay safe, indeed, indeed. Thanks very much for joining.
Thanks a lot. Bye bye, Charlie.
Awesome. Really great to hear the stories behind Lorenz's images. Really, he has the most incredible amount of locations. He's got some great tricks up his sleeve, and you never really know whether he's going to go silhouette or drone, graphical or not, but you damn well know that he's going to come out with a fantastic shot at the end of it. So keep your eyes on Lorenz Holder's work, and, well, keep your eye on A Photographer Talks. We'll be back soon, and until then, thanks for joining.